Welcome everybody to the Chess Lab. Welcome to episode 15 of Road to 2500 Lichess Rapid. Let's see if we can find a pairing. Lately, finding pairings has been a little bit slower than usual, but let's see. And here we go. Already finding somebody. Okay, I'm playing with the white pieces. Let's go with knight to f3. Let me fix this monitor a little bit. We are playing against 2136, and my opponent decided to abort the game. And thanks to this act of kindness by my opponent, we have to wait even more, and I'm probably gonna play with the black pieces now. And I really wanted to play some one knight f3. Very nice. You know, it happens that sometimes when you start to be... It's weird to say, but when you start to be a little bit higher rated, you will notice that some lower rated players just abort the game. It's actually not the first time that it happened to me. And it's not going to be the last. So now it's time to wait again and see if a new match appears. Here we go, and we're playing with the white pieces against an even stronger opponent, 2278. That's a delight, if I can say so myself. And knight f6 by my opponent. Okay, here I have to be careful, because if they go for a g6 setup, I have to be careful about what the theory recommends. Of course, I'm using Nate Solon's course, which is this course here, the second one that you see from the top, 100 Repertors Daretti. And that's what I'm using to basically have my repertoire going on. So, okay, g6. So my opponent is going for a King's Indian or a Grunfeld setup, depending on where do they put their pawn. Is actually the most common setup at the higher level. However, is the one I've studied the least, simply because most people at the levels I've been so far, they go for c5, d5, knight to c6. And here you want to basically play against this fianchetted bishop, and so I want to go b3. That's what I want to do to kind of counter their fianchetted bishop. I couldn't wait one more move, because otherwise they had nasty discoveries with the knight, so I had to go for b3 and bishop to b2 immediately. That's the point. And okay, now they play d5. Okay, so on d5, I think that at the time being, I shouldn't worry. Whereas against d6, I should have played d4, because they would be threatening e5, but that's not the case. On d5, I think, first of all, this is a Grunfeld setup, if you really think about it. And so against the Grunfeld setup, I'm not sure what to do. Perhaps this was not even in Solon's course, but I'm not super sure about this. No, I think it was in Solon's course, but via different move order perhaps. Okay, I'm just gonna continue with my normal idea here, with playing g2. Maybe that's already a little inaccurate, maybe, or maybe no. Maybe I'm in time to do this. I have to be careful, because black's idea is to play c5, d4. However, if that happens, for example, c5, c4, d4, I should be in time to play e3. And yeah, I should be in time to do that. Okay, so let me castle now. I should be in time to do this castling thing. And okay, now we have castle, we have our fianchetto, here we go c5 obviously, and we have our dark square bishop pointing out to this diagonal. So now if c4 there is d4, however, ideally black wants to have this structure. They want the knight out, the pawn out, and having three pawns like this with the knight. That's black's ideal setup. So after I go c4, they can go d4, but after e3, I'm already challenging this construction, and they cannot play e5, knight to c6 at once, in one go, you know? So that's a little bit of an issue, so I think I'm gonna go c4. And if they play d4, well, again, I'm gonna challenge them with e3. And moreover, after d4, my bishop is simply open up, which is great. And if they take, the same. Of course, I will just take back, after which my bishop is open, which is obviously very, very nice. And they go for d4 again. If I allow my opponent to play knight to c6, and then I play e3 just later, they can play e5. Whereas now after e3, if they go e5, I have the option to simply capture this pawn. The position will get complicated after that, but let's go for it. And notice that again, yes, this bishop looks a little bit awkward for the moment. However, notice this bishop, beautifully opened. And I'm gonna say something that is just a personal opinion of mine, because so far I'm kinda telling you what Nate Solon, who is a FIDE master and a strong player, recommends. But my personal view on this, so take it with a grain of salt because it's mine, is that, let's say that black plays e5. I mean, sure, my bishop is not doing much, but his bishop, it wouldn't be that active either, you know what I mean? I mean, 2 pawns here blocks you too. Okay, they play knight c6, and here I think it's important for me to take, and they take, and then I want to prevent them from going e5. Ideally, I want to play knight e5, but here I cannot. And so I think I'm gonna play rook e1 or d3. I'll decide at the moment. So let's take first. And maybe they have a crazy idea of playing something like knight to e4, but in that case I think that I'm just gonna play d3, winning a tempo. And yeah, I'm not sure that's really good actually. It may be, but I'm not sure. It feels like I'm winning some tempi. Okay, they play c takes d4. Now, this is a tricky situation. Why? Well, because of course d3 will be my first and main instinct, but then they can play e5, kind of achieving what we were talking about of blocking this whole situation up. So perhaps my first instinct would be to play rather rook to e1 to prevent e5. Now after rook to e1, in the case of rook to e8, I would actually go knight to e5, believe it or not, to really prevent this pawn from being pushed. And after knight takes, rook takes, sure, they can attack my rook, but I can always just move it while attacking their queen, creating mess, and doing so. After playing d3, what can they do? They can play e5, but then I can play something like knight b to d2, and I wouldn't have that bad of a position. I could actually play something like bishop to a3 to kind of activate my bishop on a more active spot, and I can always play rook to e1 later to go knight to e4. That will just be a little bit of an unusual situation. Now, if I play rook e1, I wonder what happens if they play d3. Well, that will open up both of my bishops, and again, after knight to e5, I don't feel that uncomfortable, even though, yeah, they can't even move this knight to exploit the pin, because I can just take with tempo. So rook e1 is a move, d3 is a move. I'm really not sure what to do. There is this move bishop to g4, which also concerns me. So for example, rook e1, bishop to g4. Oh, so there's a difference here. Oh, that's a big difference. Okay. So basically, one thing that I notice is that after bishop g4, if I play h3, I then have to take back with either the queen or the bishop, which is not necessarily super comfortable. Whereas after d3, bishop to g4, I can play knight b to d2, which allows me to play h3 later, and once they take, I can take back with the knight if I so want. d3 kind of gives this knight a target, perhaps. So I'm gonna go with d3. I'm just gonna go with d3, allowing them to play e5 if they want, claiming that I'm gonna have my 3 against 2 here on the queen side, and claiming that this pawn doesn't pose me any critical issues, let's say. And they go for this. Now a move that I can play, which is a pretty funny move, is this move b4. b4 is a pretty funny move, and you know, you play these moves because if they take, then I take here, which again is quite interesting, and these also win an important tempo. So maybe b4 is the move to go here. That would be very nice. After b4, they may play bishop to g4, right? So maybe I'm not that ready for that. However, what can I do here? What can I do? I can always play b5 after that. They may move to b4, and then I can always play something like bishop to a3, even, you know? And if they play a3, I can always take en passant. So maybe b4 is actually a great move. b4, knight takes. And see, they don't have discoveries thanks to their pawn, not mine, which is kind of fascinating, isn't it? Now after b4, they may play e4. Yeah, e4 may be a little bit annoying. What if I take, they take? Well, then I push again. So b4, there is e4. Let me think about this. Because that's, of course, critical. I take, they take. I push. Where are they gonna go? Are they gonna go here? But again, I have this idea. It doesn't look too good for them. b4, e4, critical attempt. But I'm not leaving these diagonals, so I can always take, and then their dark squares are weakened, because what other options I have? Rook to e1, bishop to g4. Knight b to d2, but I don't like knight to g4 there. Because queen c2 is not available, I would have to play this queen to b1, which may be possible. That actually may be a very good way to go. Yeah, because then the pawn is actually there hanging by himself. So what's wrong with rook to e1? Well, rook to e1, they may play rook to e8, obviously. But then I can play b4 at that point. And what's the difference? Well, after e4, I can just take. And once they take back, is there a difference? Well, I can again push this guy here. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to do here. I'm really not sure what to do. Maybe knight b to d2, just keep it simple. Or perhaps even knight to d2. Knight to d2 may be a very interesting move. A very interesting move here. Knight f to d2, rather. Knight f to d2, very interesting move, really preventing this e4. But then you may say, what are you going to do with this knight? And that's a good question. But after knight f to d2, I may be threatening bishop takes, which I know it sounds crazy, but maybe. So b4 is a very tempting move, but again, after e4, I'm not so sure. Takes. It's complicated. There are so many interesting lines. I push here, they go here. But then they're losing this pawn. Hold up. If I play b4, they push here, takes, I can push, and then they're losing this. Oh, 100% they're losing that. Oh yeah, they're losing that. What I was concerned about something after b4 and e4 and I take. I was concerned about something, I'm sure. But what was it? Knight takes, that was my concern. How is that a concern? You just boot that knight away. That's very interesting that I was concerned about that. That's very interesting. Let's go for it. b4. Let's just go for it. Let's see what happens. And maybe I miscalculated, it's possible. It's always a possibility. I bleed down a lot of time with this b4. One thing about recording the videos for you guys is that it's also useful for me because I'm gonna go and watch back the recording and see what concerned me in the beginning with this b4 move. Because I really don't know. I don't remember. And I'm gonna see how my thinking process is just twisted sometimes. Okay, they take with no remorse. I'm gonna take here. Maybe their idea is to go bishop f5 now that I think about it, which will make sense. Which will make a lot of sense, okay. For the time being though, my knight is defending this pawn, and so the move a3 is quite annoying. Also, I was thinking about bishop a3 previously. I don't know why I abandoned the idea. Yeah, I think that I am a little bit confusing myself here, but definitely bishop a3 is in the cards. But maybe, but now I'm trying to kind of cope with my missing bishop a3 idea. After bishop a3, e4 may be a thing. And if you take, no, but it's not a thing. It's not a thing. I just completely missed the idea of bishop a3. I mean, I forgot it. It's not that I missed it, I forgot it. After bishop a3, they have probably to defend, and then I take. But maybe it's not that crazy. Maybe having this bishop looking at this pawn is not the end of the world. Bishop g4 is not a move. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like this position is not solid. I don't know why. I mean, the knight is in the best spot. I traded a central pawn for a lateral pawn, which should be good for me. It feels alright, but for some reasons, it feels like something is not okay. But it looks alright, it really does. So, also if they play rook e8, my idea is to play a3, and if they take, I'm gonna take, having this better position. And after a3, they may try to be fancy, saying if you take back, I'm gonna win a pawn, but I take back with a knight winning a piece. So I think a3 is just a very good move here. And I think I'm gonna go for it. What's the trick after a3? After a3, they may play queen to a5, but after a takes b4, surprise, surprise, this rook is defended. So they would probably have to go back like this. But in that case, again, I have my decent positional concepts here, and I can even consider knight to c2 and knight to f3 with tempo this time, and my position seems kind of alright. I have to be careful always about this idea bishop f5, but if I can boot their knight out, then it's not a big deal. So let's see how they're gonna deal with this. Not sure, really. Also, after queen to a5, bishop takes d4 is a move. Now that I think about it, the position gets crazy, and I start to be slightly low on time, perhaps, which is not ideal. Of course, this move a3 counts on the fact that taking is perhaps a little bit inferior, and going back is definitely a problem for them. This now comes with a fork. is not even just attacking a rook, it's a full fork. And if they interpose with a bishop, well, I can always think about just trading bishops, you know. And so they are forced to go to that inferior square now. Okay, that's kind of a victory for me, I think. I think we can consider it like that. But okay, problems are just beginning, obviously. And here is not so clear how to continue this adventure here. Because if I had a knight to d2, knight to f3 would be lovely, of course. But since things are the way they are, not so sure. And okay, now they have the idea of playing knight to c5 and bishop to f5, which is a big problem. So how do I deal with it? Well, every time they play bishop f5, they have to be careful about this pawn hanging. But definitely if I play rook e1, they're gonna go knight to c5. However, I just realized if I play knight to f3, I'm hitting this pawn. So I can actually save my knight with tempo. And if they play bishop g4, this time I have h3. And once they take, things now are different because first of all, they don't have bishop f5 anymore, but also I'm hitting this pawn here. So perhaps the move knight to f3 is great because from c5 they're also defending this c7 point. So I think I'm gonna go for this idea. It's not perhaps the nicer looking idea of them all, because obviously I'm just retreating one piece from the center, but perhaps this is what's required to be done. And moves like queen to b6, which attacks the bishop, fails to impress thanks to knight f3 because I just take, saving the bishop and counterattacking on the queen and dominating the dark squares. So yeah, this retreating move looks perhaps a little bit unambitious, but it may as well be the best move, I don't know. Perhaps no, but perhaps yes. Very insightful commentary here, guys. You should be very happy that you have my crazy commentary. This move may be good or may be bad. See, this is how much you learn chess with me. That's awesome. Okay, now this pawn is under attack, and bishop to g4 is a move. And after bishop g4, perhaps knight b to d2 this time is playable. Because now they don't have knight b4, they only have knight c5. But these allow me to play something like queen to c2, which is tricky because then they have bishop f5. And things gets crazy. You know? And that's definitely, wow, that's wild. That's really wild. And then I can play bishop takes. If they play knight takes, things are just insane, aren't they? Okay, bishop g4, knight b to d2, knight to c5. Things are complicated, very complicated. Too complicated, to be honest. Because queen c2, there is bishop g5. If I can find a refutation to this move, then I may as well call myself winning, but I can't find a refutation to this. I just can't find it. There is knight e1, but what's my threat then? I don't have a threat anymore. I don't have a threat anymore, just as simple as that. And all my pieces are passive. Again, knight b to d2 with the idea of h3, they go here. I can play h3 now. But they can always take here. And after I take here, they take here. And after this move here, their knight is actually trapped, which is, whoa. That's fascinating. This doesn't work because I'm in time to take, there are no discoveries. So, well, maybe there are, but they get the exchange for 2 pieces, that would be okay. So after knight b to d2, knight c4, h3, perhaps taking here is not as good. They have to go back here. They have to go back here. But now what do? Now I play... well, I have to play bishop takes, I guess, but then knight takes, then knight takes, and I don't see it. So I'll rather play h3. I'll rather play h3, and which was my original idea, but I had to make sure that knight b to d2 just doesn't win on the spot, you know? But I guess it doesn't. And now they're gonna take me with the bishop. I don't know why they are thinking if they don't take. Yeah, they have to take. Now, how do I take back? With the bishop or with the queen? Well, taking with the queen also wins a tempo, doesn't it? So why not? But, and also taking with the queen allow me next move to develop this knight. Because if I take with the bishop, they go knight c4, which they're gonna do anyways. And I don't really have knight d2 because they just take. So I kind of have to take with the queen, which kind of exposes my queen a little bit, and my position really feels not that good. Also now queen b6, I just realize is, oh no, it doesn't work because of this. Wow. And if they take with the idea of rook here, I can take their knight. They could probably go here at that point, but then I have, no, I just take. What am I talking about? I'm hitting the rook. So yeah, queen b6 doesn't work. Okay, they go knight to c5. Now queen b6 is not a threat though, so that's kind of good. Now I can just develop my knight over here, right? Perhaps I can, perhaps I can't. Who knows? Who knows what I can and cannot do? Who knows what I can and cannot do, huh? Knight a4, queen b7, rook b8. That's a little bit unfortunate. And after I go here, they can take. And then I don't see a continuation. So after knight a4, what do I invent? What do I do after this? I probably want to go rook to b1, trying to play bishop a1. Then they go here. I can take. Jumping here. I don't know. Okay, they defend like this, which not sure if that's the greatest approach, to be honest. But how do I exploit? I have a very precarious position. I don't like my position at all. So let's try to trade some pieces. You know, let's try to trade some pieces. And yeah, let's try to do that. Let's try to trade some pieces, right? Rook f2 e1 feels wrong for some reasons, but at the same time, I'm not sure what else to do. So, knight a4 now doesn't work though, because I take and then I take here. So at least there's that. So we have something. And if rook takes, and then knight a4, you know, this is already, I have some more squares to go to, and after knight here, there is no, well, this is forced. There is no hitting the rook. So, you know, my position is still very, very bad, but perhaps is not terrible, even though it's, I don't know how to evaluate this. It's really difficult to think about anything. There is always this idea of playing knight e4, but he's controlling that square a little bit too much. Perhaps a move like g4 is nice, but at the same time, keeping these two knights here forever. Can he really do that? I'm not sure. I have to be careful about this pawn. This pawn may just fall if I just move my queen around. So I have to think about that too. I have to think about that too. Moving the queen also is not really possible. So he doesn't have the easiest position, my opponent. Moving this knight allow me to go here. So okay, they're gonna play b6, let's say. What do I do? g4. I want to go with g4. Threatening g5. h6 would... Okay, they moved the knight there. We talked about it. But now they're leaving this square behind. I think I want to keep my bishop on the diagonal, even though this gives me a little bit less mobility with the bishop, but I really want to leave it there. They're gonna go knight c6. What do I do? I think I'm just gonna take it and play knight d4, or is that too risky? I don't know. Or if they go knight c6, maybe I just want to play g4. No, but that never works, because once they move the knight, this square is going to be controlled. Oh, but I want to go to e4 with the knight. That's what I want to do. True. Okay, very complicated position. Very complex. They move right away. That cannot be good. Not even if you want. I can go here, of course. I think this is a great move. What if they go back? I improve. Let's try to... Wait, but if I go here, they jump in. I don't like this. So okay, let's just improve my position. Let's try to go here. Perhaps. I'm not sure how much this is prevented. Maybe. They can jump in here though, which I don't like. But I'm gonna move here, and it gets complicated. They're hitting the rook. Something that I'm not a fan of. They're hitting the rook. What can I do about it? I can try to play rook to c1, hoping to prevent knight c3, even though knight c3 is not really prevented. So that's not nice. Knight here is, of course, a critical attempt. But he has to be careful, because of course I have threats on my own. And this is quite a situation here. Knight here, what do I do? My first instinct is to play queen here. But that's super risky. That's so risky. But I think I will do it. Bishop h6 is not a thing at the time being. I think I'll do it. Knight here, queen here. If he takes, the rook falls. Tricky situations. Very tricky spots. Very tricky spots. Knight here, queen here. Threatening these two. Very, very tricky. Extremely tricky. Too tricky with 16 seconds. Hopefully you guys are having a good time, because I'm not. So hopefully at least you guys, because I'm definitely not enjoying this. I can assure you that. Not enjoying this right now at all. But knight d6 is a big threat. So yeah, knight e5, queen f4, what can they do? g5, I take it. No? Yeah. So tricky, so tricky. Bishop h6. h4, f6 takes. It's crazy position. It's crazy position, huh? It's a crazy position, huh? But after knight e5, queen f4, if they move the rook, they are actually threatening this. But there I have this move. That's so difficult to assess. Okay, they go here, they try to simplify. They hit this pawn. If I go here, they jump in, but then I go here. Feels decent. I'm gonna go for it asking questions to my opponent. Of course, this is super dangerous. Don't try this at home. Also, after I play queen f7, they just move and I'm not sure what I'm doing. But we don't talk about that. We absolutely don't talk about that. Yeah, that's a good move, unfortunately. It's a very good move, unfortunately, my friends. And I don't know how to reply to that. Maybe going here. Because if they take like this, I just realized this queen hangs. And if they take like this hangs. And this is what may save me, even though I'm not sure this saves me. And I'm threatening this, why not? But I don't think it's working well for me. I don't think it's working well for me at all. I'm afraid. There are some crazy tactics though here which one must be afraid of. Or already, I should say. Wow. f4 may be a crazy threat. Of course, he hits everything. He hits everything. Now I move here though. Oh, now he can take like that. Okay. But then I want to go here. And this falls. Crazy position. Crazy position. Just ridiculous. I think I am in big trouble. I am in big trouble for sure. I am losing, guys, okay, but I'm pretending I'm not. But I am. But I have to pretend that I'm not, okay? I have to pretend that I'm not. But I'm losing, unfortunately. This is just the reality of life. Sometimes you are losing. And that's just how it is. Very unfortunate situation here. Because he can just take, and after this I have no future here. Yeah, exactly. I have absolutely no future, no hopes. And it's just over. I have to try to do this. Trying to hang on for dear life. It's not gonna work though. I mean, I'm down on exchange. It's not the worst thing ever. And I have this nasty knight takes f7 somehow, which... yeah, surprisingly is there in the position, is it? He goes here, which I think is best. He goes here, which I think is best. Now I'm just gonna take here, though, and see what the freak happens. Because I don't know what's gonna happen here. I don't understand this position at all. I have no clue what's going on. And my idea is that I am hoping to recover the knight. I'm hoping to recover the knight after everything settles down, which would be quite crazy. I think he has to take. I have 33 seconds, so I can think a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. And even if he just moves the king... Okay... Maybe he can move here. Then I have this check. Okay, so how do I approach this? I have this check here, right? Where is he gonna go? If he goes here, doesn't work. If he goes here, I just follow him, and we repeat. So I think this is an okay check to give. He's perhaps getting mated if he's not too careful. Not saying he is, but he could be. And my idea is to just collect this knight if he goes in the wrong spot. That's just what I'm trying to do here, you know. That's it. He's gonna go here, but then I'm gonna repeat position. And okay, he goes there. So if I go here, maybe he goes here. That's nasty, so check here. Here doesn't work, he's gonna go here, right? Then I check here, he's gonna go up. I have to do something here. Unfortunately, if he goes here, he goes back there, and I don't see a continuation. I really have to check him here, which is very annoying. Very, very annoying. Yeah, and I just realized that this doesn't work. Because he can block like this, but he's still, I have some counterplay, it's not so over. It's not so over. It is over, but you know, I may have some counterplay. Of course, queen here is the move that I expect. And after taking here, it's quite tough. It's quite tough. He may play this, but I'm not sure about this actually. He goes here. Now I go here. I'm threatening the knight, which I'm not because then he wins the endgame. But let's say that I do. He goes here. Okay. But this is not winning, is it? I really don't know which move to play, which is unfortunate. Let me just try this. He has to go here, which is passive. That's my whole rationale behind this move. Okay. Now let's just move forward with my pawn here. He probably should play this, after which it's tough for me. I may just go back. But going back is passive, is it? I'd rather just move forward. Maybe taking the pawn was a draw, but it's tough in such positions to find the best way to go about it. Moving up the knight is not really helpful, so that's good. He goes here, not super sure about that. Now I kind of want to go here. So I go here, he goes here, I go here, he takes, and he doesn't stop my pawn. There is no checks on the long diagonal yet. If he moves the knight, I'm threatening to win this pawn first of all, and I'm threatening to push my own. And he has 26 seconds, I have some counterplay here. It's not over until it's over, is it? No, if he moves this knight, I just take it. What am I talking about? And then I just take here and it's a draw. He goes here, but now I push this. That was my whole grandiose idea. I could also check, but why being fancy when you can be simple? And of course now he can check me and I go on a light square, but then... yeah, he can check me. That's of course very complicated, but it's complicated for him too now. And he has 8 seconds. But now I just push, don't I? Or I check him first here. Or maybe checking first is critical, because after he goes here, I go here. I think checking is critical. I may be winning this. I may be winning this somehow. But now I have this. Now I have this, and this is just over, is it? This is just over. Am I crazy? I'm attacking the queen which is pinned. It's over. I win. Am I crazy? He can't even check me. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We win this. What? That's crazy. I'm shaking a little bit because I shouldn't have won this. But at the same time, I kept pressuring, I kept asking questions. Let's go! Let's go! Alright, and this was 2278, and we just crushed. We just crushed it. I mean, listen, that's crazy. That's awesome. That's awesome. I don't want to look at the accuracy here. Oh no, don't let me look at the accuracy, please. Please, I don't want to see it. Oh, I don't want to see it. 45 minutes of a game, not bad. I don't want to see it. I mean, it's not terrible. I managed to be above 90% somehow. That's just... But my opponent was always doing decently. Wow. I think I went for the wrong structural idea. That's crazy. Yeah, again, I kept asking questions, and in the end it paid off. So already here, castle is not... Perhaps c4 is the move here? Let's see what the masters do here. Am I lagging? No. The masters play c4. Yeah, c4 has to be played. Yeah, c4 had to be played here. I'm gonna have to improve my opening understanding of these structures, because yeah, these I noticed that against this knight f3 fianchetto, this Grunfeld structure here kinda annoys me. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, after d4 knight f6, c4 g6, knight to c3, d5 will be the Grunfeld, right? The King's Indian will be after d6 bishop g7, whereas the Grunfeld will be d5. And here, of course, you can take, which kind of makes it, the structurally speaking, not the same. But if you play knight f3, which is a very playable move, bishop g7, if you look at black, right, is like the same. Black is the same here and here, right? Whereas that's why it's called like Grunfeld structure. If they play d6 and you play, I don't know, e4, bishop g7, that will be the King's Indian structure, right? So if they play something like d6, here I play e4 because I want to prevent e5, bishop g7. If we compare these two, black is the same. So this is just to make you understand why the structure they're named the way that they're named. And again, against this g6, bishop g7, I have to study that chapter. I have to repeat it a couple of times because I really lack understanding here. And okay, this d5 move I think is present. What's not present is... I don't remember what's not present here. Perhaps d5 here, and after bishop g7, g6. No, but this transposes. But maybe, oh yeah, now here they can play c5, exactly. And this is the problem. This is the move order trickery that they can pull off. Whereas if they play g6 immediately, that's not move order trick. But I ended up being into that line anyways, because I castled. Yeah, it's unbelievable how simply castling, you may say is a very normal move, but this was in my opinion, that was the mistake of the game, actually. Because it just goes into the wrong direction. And yes, of course, here you have to be precise. Here, b4 immediately was the move, which is very, very logical now that I look at it. Again, counting on the fact that if they take this pawn, central pawn falls. But okay, e3 was played, and now knight c6. And again, this structure is not particularly good for them. I played a similar game in round 5 of the last OTB tournament I played, but my opponent had gone for some h5, h4, h takes g3, weird stuff in the beginning that kind of made my position more than playable. I was actually better myself, but here the opponent did nothing wrong. very efficient, castling, fianchettoing their bishop. So this structure is not particularly good. b4 is probably okay. Knight takes, but again, look at this. a3 seems to be almost equal, but is never fully equal, which is very interesting. Knight f3 is fine, but again, I'm always under a little bit of annoying pressure. Knight c5, knight d2, at least I finish my development. Rook b8, rook f2 e1, rook takes, and here knight a4 is actually going in the wrong direction for my opponent. Knight f2 d7 would have been nice. After knight a4, bishop a1, what was the best line instead? Bishop c1, okay. Just keeping the bishop a little bit more active, all right. And here knight to d7, and here what was the best move? Knight b3, yeah, I should have tried to activate this guy here, but I instead play knight e4, and after queen a5 I'm in some trouble. He attacks, yeah, because knight b3 also prevents the opponent to go queen a5, and also threatens this pawn. The problem I had with this was that something moving the knight around, but I guess I always have queen d5 in those cases. Well, not knight b6 obviously, but knight b6 also doesn't come with a threat, and their pieces are a little bit discoordinated. So I can play queen e4, rook e4 to keep attacking this pawn. So knight b3 definitely better than knight e4. Knight e4 is not really achieving much. And also rook c1 is a miracle that this is not just a blunder. Knight d6, I was trying to complicate things. Queen d5, rook takes a3, and here of course rook b1 was just better. And things just get crazy. Instead I played rook e1, my opponent can just take, and here I decided to go for these complications, which shockingly enough are not terrible. That's crazy. Yeah, here I made a mistake. I should have gone queen d5. I was so afraid. Oh, there is also this. I was so afraid for some reasons of... I think I was afraid of king g8, which is not playable. That's what having 35 seconds does to you. Queen d5, I was afraid of king g8, which is literally illegal. But what about king to f8? No, maybe king f8 was also something that... Oh no, but king f8 I already established that I check. Oh yeah, that's the problem. If they go back, I repeat. But I realized that after queen d8, king to g7, I don't have queen e7, which is what I originally thought, which would be a beautiful fork. The problem is the queen hangs. So I realized that, and so I went for queen f4, but this is wrong. And after king g8, I should have played queen f6. I thought about actually playing a calm move to create some threats, but I was afraid of knight f3, which now is not... Oh, it is playable. Yeah, I was afraid of knight f3 then, but king g2... And after a5, if I take, they win the endgame. But now I perhaps have some more resilient moves. But okay, I play queen b8, which at this point after queen f4 is probably, humanly speaking, okay, because you have to kind of go for some concrete issues. At least, you know, here I have a passed pawn, and I'm doing something. Knight f3, king g2, attacking the knight, so asking questions. And here check again, forcing knight f7, c5. It's a practical attempt. I'd say that the problem was not playing queen f4. Queen f4 I should have played. Sorry, queen d5 I should have played, but after king to f8, how do you keep the balance? Because these are unequal. How do you keep the balance after king f8? Queen d8 and this is just a draw. On king f7 we repeat, okay, but on king g7, queen d4. Queen d4. And after king king, let's say g8, queen d5 here, and we repeat, and after king h6, queen f4. And if you go back, we repeat, and if you go here, you get checkmated probably, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I should have gone queen f4. Okay, queen f4, big miss. I should have gone queen d5. I keep saying the opposite. I should have gone queen d5. Okay. Because again, we have perpetual after queen d5. The best will be king e8, after which what should be the... After which I should just take on b7. And basically here the argument is that I have counterplay because I'm starting to have some pawns. I have this passed pawn and all these things. But this looks scary. For example, queen to c1, what happens? And now it's just a draw. Now it's just a draw forever. Okay. So if the king stays unattended with the queen and is too exposed, I'm not gonna make jokes here, but he gets perpetual. Okay, queen f4 check, king g8, and here queen b8. Well, after playing queen f4, I think this low engine depth says -2, but I think this is winning for black at this point, so no matter what I do, it's fine. I think these inaccuracies doesn't really count much, in human terms for sure. At least I'm giving myself, again, a chance, right? Knight f3, I'm attacking the knight, check, they have to go back. You know, I'm kind of creating something. Queen d8 here, queen c6, again inaccurate, perhaps queen b7. Yeah, queen b7 actually makes much more sense to just push the pawn. Yeah, that makes much more sense. I perhaps was afraid that I didn't want to leave my pawn hangings, but this is just ridiculous. King f8 though, not going in the right direction. Now queen b7, so I could have just played it in one go. And now queen e7, but now again I have this c6 move. And I think that after c6 my opponent started to panic because... yeah, I mean, you know, he realized that if he takes, then all of a sudden this is winning because you have no way to stop this pawn. But if you don't take, what do you do? Because he sees that I'm just gonna push, and it starts to become not super easy. And it turns out knight d6 would have been the way to go. And here queen b8. But you can see how this can look scary. The idea after knight e8, which is quite genius by the engine, is that now c7 is not playable because you just take. I think he missed the fact that you can just take. And by the way, this guy is rated 2278, right? So even almost 2300 rated players can miss things if they're low on time. And the good thing about this game is that my opponent was also low on time. He played king e8 instead, which is a blunder. And here I managed to find queen b8. I don't know if queen b8 is the only move. Oh, queen b8 is the only way to win. That's actually a very nice spot then. Because I wanted to play c7, but yeah, I realized that after knight d6, I promote and we just trade pieces. And for sure that's a draw, because at this point the king is too exposed. But queen b8 is the only way to move. That's a great move. On chess.com you will get the exclamation mark. Lichess is still better. Okay, and after queen d8 there is c7, and my opponent just resigned. But even if he doesn't play this, even if he plays knight d8 after c7, it's over. He has one check, actually, not more than that. And here I have to be careful, because if I promote, I guess that he gets perpetuals. But here I can check. And here, what do I do here? Queen c4 is actually not that simple. It's actually not that simple after check and queen d4. That's very hard to win for white. Because if you promote, it's a draw. Yeah. And so you have to find check, and after queen to d7, if I promote, I lose this queen, and if I take this queen, I even lose, because the promotion square is protected, and this pawn endgame is probably winning for black. So here is not so simple. I have to find ways. Either I have to go back, but then we repeat most likely, or if I want to keep it new, which I have to if I want to win, queen c4, which again threatens to promote, and controls the squares, the critical squares. And I'm attacking the knight. But again, the knight doesn't matter, because even if you take it, then it's a draw, so you want to win. So after queen c8, for example, is not easy at all. You have to find either this, which somehow wins, and here basically the point is that you win the pawn endgame. You win the pawn endgame. So that's not easy. You have to understand that it's not about the promotion, it's about winning the pawns. Yes, you use the promotion to achieve that, but that's not the discriminant that makes you win. Whereas after queen d8, as you can see compared to the lines that I just showed you, this is so much simpler. You just play c7 and the opponent is forced to resign. They cannot give you checks now because they are pinned. Their queen is under attack, they have to move it. They cannot fool around. If they go here, I just take it, and if they take my queen, I take with promotion, and then I take this and it's winning. So that's why after c7 they resigned. Was this deserved? Let's say that from the opening, no. From the opening, it was not deserved, because again, I forgot to play c4 here, and as soon as I play castle, I think that in the video I said that c4 was more accurate, I think. I try to justify it with my mind, but no, not really. So from the opening, I don't really deserve it much. I went for, well, this e3 move, the engine gives it as an inaccuracy, but it's the main idea in the course. b4 though is of course more on point, so yeah. But this I tried to hang on. I found b4 later. I found this nice a3. I kind of managed to keep it around equal for a long time. Here it wasn't very easy. Even my opponent here for knight a4 is not super accurate, and I managed to kind of keep it around equal. Rook e1 was inaccurate, rook b1 was better, but here already I had 13 seconds here, so I mean, I managed to keep a position which was objectively inferior around equal for a long time, so it's not that terrible. And here I managed to understand that I had enough counterplay here, because here I'm threatening discoveries on this rook, I'm threatening the knight, and so that's why I, in this position, captured this knight here. Understanding that if they fool around, I have this and checkmate. And after this, I managed to understand that I cannot just take. In the past, this is a move that I would have just played, because you just can't stand the pressure, right? You have to just let go. But just to show you, after queen here and king here, you can as well resign, because you have nothing. You have no checks anymore, and the main defender stays alive. And it's just, this is completely over. But in the past, I would have played this, and I wanted to play it, but I was resilient, and I managed to understand that this was more complicated for my opponent. Rook d8, and here also this move, very nice move, understanding that taking is a problem because of check. That was my idea. Maybe this is wrong, but this was, I wanted to play, and here check. And if they go here, this is checkmate. I didn't saw the checkmate, but I figured that if anything, I can just take here, and their position remains problematic with this knight, which is trapped. But here I think is a forced checkmate. Yeah, exactly. The line that I just showed you is correct. So king takes f7, but this allows me this check. These are a bunch of probably only moves. I'm not going to turn on the engine again, because again, it lags. But I mean, if you don't play bishop d5, what do you play? This is just very bad. So check. Okay, I'm going to turn on the engine because I'm too curious. So it turns out that you can also take with the idea that after bishop d5 later, you have a very strong bishop. Okay. But yeah, this concept of playing bishop d5 check, even if I take the knight first, black can always sacrifice the exchange later if they want. So, oh, but then it's equal, so maybe queen takes e1. Oh, but here they actually have to give away the exchange, because otherwise they lose the game because of some checkmates. Whereas if I take their knight and then I check with the bishop, they can move the king. So they can either, they have the choice to stay up either the exchange or the piece, but probably forcing them to stay up the exchange was better, perhaps, but bishop d5, I'm proud of this move. And here, of course, it was very difficult. and I just got confused. But even here, I didn't just give up, which is very nice. I kept asking these famous questions, right? I managed to have this passed pawn. Yeah, here the only move that perhaps I really dislike about this game, with the exception of castling instead of c4, obviously, is that I should have played queen b7 here. There's literally no reason why you don't play this. I mean, come on. Queen b7 makes so much sense, but funnily enough, queen c6 kinda incentivized my opponent to play king f8, and the reason behind king f8 is to then meet queen b7 with queen e7. Whereas here, if I play queen b7 immediately, they are not gonna play queen e7, because of course I will just take it. So by losing this tempo, of course there are better moves for black, but it kinda tricked them somehow to go for this, which again fails to c6, which is nice. And and here I'm very happy that I found queen b8 after being down this whole time. And you see it all the time. Strong players, I'm not a strong player, but I'm saying strong players, they may be down for the whole game, but if they get that one chance, they take it. And usually something that in the past I would have never ever done. And I'm sure I'm gonna miss many games, even in the future. But the fact that I've done this is very nice for me to see. And only move here to keep the advantage. And of course, my opponent could have been a little bit more resilient, but he just crumbled immediately. And also you see the difference between my opponent under time pressure, crumbling pretty badly. Whereas me, maybe because I'm used to it, I managed to kind of hang on a little bit better. But yeah, of course, you have to be happy about victories, but you also have to be objective and honest with yourself intellectually. This game wasn't a good game, like under an objective standpoint. I'm just happy because I won it, but here I should have played c4 and playing much more accurately. So I'm gonna have to do some work and revisit my lines in the course. So I'm gonna take this happiness that I have because I win the game, but I'm also gonna keep in mind that objectively I must check these lines because I misplayed them. So having said that, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you was entertained by this, because definitely I think from the point of view of the spectators, it was quite entertaining. So again, thank you for watching. Enjoy your chess.